So I had asked my friend Shannon to join me for this podcast, quote unquote, for Alien Worlds. And basically what I want to discuss today is Earth the only planet with life in our solar system?
I don't think so. I think that Mars has some sort of life, but it may not be what we think of as humans.
That actually goes perfectly into my next question, because my next one is, how would you define life as we know it?
Well, there has been talk of aliens, and I do like to believe that that's true. So I don't think the living things on Mars could be like us, but I do think they are. There is some sort of live creatures out there.
Yeah. So when, I know you know that I'm super into X-Files and stuff, but when you think of aliens, do you think of the literal alien emoji? I think
Yes.
That's how you picture them, tall gray men.
Yes, I don't know how else I would picture them.
Okay, no, that's fine. Quick question, do you know what goes into life, what elements basically make up signs of life on our planet?
Yes.
Do you want to list any?
Food and water.
So actually water is one of them, with hydrogen, traces of carbon dioxide, and oxygen in our atmosphere are very strong signs of life. So you're not wrong. Did you hear about the discovery of Venus life?
I have not heard of that.
I'm asking that question again. That was awful. Did you hear of the recent discovery of possible signs of life on Venus?
I have not.
So basically back in, I think it was September, they discovered various gases that were in Venus that could be potential signs of life. That's basically as far as our discovery of life outside of Earth has gone so far, but I personally hope they're little green aliens. Do you know of any signs on Mars that there is life? Or if there are any signs on Mars that there is life? It's not a gotcha question. It's I don't know. Because you talk about
Yes,
life on Mars.
but I don't
as
have
your
any
idea of,
support to
aliens.
back it up.
Okay, no, that's totally fine. No, that's fine. You believe in aliens, yes.
Yeah.
That wasn't a guiding question. I just think you've already said that. Do you think we're alone in the universe? And are those different questions to you?
That's deep. Alone as in humans on Earth?
Yes.
Alone? In the whole universe?
The whole universe.
No.
Do you think that we are alone in our solar system? So that's
Yes.
okay, cool.
I think that there are lots of different life forms in lots of different solar systems, because how could we be the only ones?
I agree.
Because it's so vast.
It's so vast. And within our own galaxy, there are pretty much as many planets as there are stars.
Mm.
So if even a tiny percent of the planets, a tiny, tiny percent of planets, that would still be something.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of some things, actually. But there is a way that have you heard of Kepler before?
No.
So Kepler was a NASA project that was sent out to try to discover all these exoplanets. And one way that they discover exoplanets is the transit method and then the radial velocity method, which I'm not going to go too deep into, but basically they look for variances in light waves that might signify a celestial body moving in front of a star. And then they can pick up on these tiny dips in light waves that they can then go and pretty much determine everything about a planet and its makeup based on just these two things. And so that was Kepler. And apparently within the next couple years, they're talking about a wide field infrared survey telescope called WFIRST that would be able to detect biosignatures in atmospheres. Sorry, I'm not letting you talk that much right now, but
That's okay. I don't have much to say anyway.
The 6 main elements of Earth life that I was talking about earlier are carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, which is the photosynthesis chemicals, and sulfur and hydrogen. So they're like a ton, which is interesting. I don't know
Very cool.
which specifically they found in Venus, but it is pretty exciting, though I would prefer to see little gray men, personally.
What is your favorite planet?
My favorite planet is definitely Saturn. It's so large.
That's what she said. Mine's Pluto because it's so small.
Pluto's not a planet.
I know. It was a really hard day for me when they took Pluto off the planet list.
I agree. It
was like a really hard day.
Yeah. I agree. I think Pluto is considered a dwarf planet. Do you think there could be life on Pluto, or is it simply too far from the sun?
Too cold, too small.
I think it is too. But then there are places like Jupiter's moon Europa, which
sounds like urethra.
The amount of recordings I'm going to have to listen to of my voice because you say things like that.
I'm sorry, it was going too well.
It was going too well. So, Jupiter has a moon called Europa, which reminds me of a classic hairband.
Hairband?
Yeah. Europa is an 80s hairband.
Oh.
They sang The Final Countdown.
It's the final countdown. Do. Please put that in there.
But they think there's like subterranean oceans. So even though it's super cold and super far out, because Jupiter's way far out in our solar system, it's possible that there's liquid water. It's just so deep within the crust of the planet that we don't actively have anything that could drill that deep and see. But maybe it is possible for planets that are way out to have these insane life forms. Like even on Earth, there are quote-unquote dry valleys in Antarctica that I was reading about, and there are chemical pools in Yellowstone and superheated vents in the ocean. Like there are different facets of life on our planet that we don't understand. I'll apologize for the drilling with like an asterisk or something, because I don't know what that is. But yeah, so maybe it's just like expanding our definition of life, because I know personally, I think having one definition of life that includes like carbon and oxygen elements might be limiting us in our discoveries. But I don't know how else I would personally define it. So.
Interesting.
But yeah, I love Europa. I fangirl about Europa. So, one way we pick up on elements in the atmospheres of planets is by using spectroscopy. So, you know when you put light through a prism and it comes in white and it goes out rainbow?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can then project that rainbow and see where there are certain colors that are missing. Those colors in the light spectrum are being blocked out by specific elements, which each have their own special fingerprint, so it's like very identifiable. And then from that, you can, just based off of a picture, figure out what all the elements in a planet's atmosphere are and whether or not they show signs of life.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Super cool. I can't wait for you to say, oh wow, that's cool 7 times, and for that to be your only response when I go on rants.
Should I just record a few of me being like, oh wow?
Just little quips,
yeah.
like you put in a B-roll.
I like colors.
Were you a kid that liked going to science museums?
No.
Really? I'm not judging. I'm just like genuinely
Actually,
curious.
like if it was like a cool science museum, if it was like a please touch science museum.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever been to a science museum that wasn't. They're all pretty playful.
Then yes.
I just think they're fun, and I feel like this would be a cool exhibit, personally.
Mhm.
Also, when you read the fingerprints of the elements, they can possibly be shifted to the left or right towards the blue or red side of the spectrum. When it's blue shifted, it means that the planet is moving towards you, meaning that it's orbiting around a sun. Or if there are 2 stars, that means they're orbiting around each other. When it's red shifted, it means that it is moving away from you. So I don't don't know. How would you define life now after all of that fun stuff? Do you still have like the same image of extraterrestrial life forms in your head? You can say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you still
I like
think...
to imagine them as green,
Okay.
not gray.
Do you still think of little green men like on Mars?
Yes.
Do you think there's... I mean, it sounds a little redundant, but do you think there is actual like life as we know it on Mars? Because Mars is right next to us and we've been there for a long time. And I'm not saying you're wrong.
I don't think there is, because then why wouldn't Mars people reach out to us?
Okay. Personally, I don't think there are sentient beings within our solar system. If anything, I'm hoping that there might be like bacteria or something within the oceans of Europa or way out on one of those planets, or maybe even on Venus. If it's on Venus or Mars, it's really exciting because they're our neighbors. And that's so close, which means then life must be like super plentiful. That can be right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's exciting. I definitely believe in aliens. I agree with you that we can't possibly be it. The universe is too big and expanding. But what was your favorite thing that you learned today?
What was the color prism called?
Spectroscopy.
I really liked learning about spectrosity.
Spectroscopy.
I
Like-
really like
Like a telescope.
spectroscopy.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked learning about spectroscopy. I really like learning about spectroscopy.
Yeah. Spectroscopy.
Spectroscopy? No?
Now I'm guessing. Now I'm second guessing. It's that. Spectroscopy.
I really liked learning about spectroscopy.
I like rainbows. And unicorns.
Because I like colors.
What do you think your favorite element is? I hope that aliens exclusively exude neon. Just neon. I
Like
don't know if neon
auras?
needs to interact with something else. Just the element. I don't know if it needs to interact with something else to be glowy.
I feel like it's just a constant state of disco.
Yeah. That's what I hope alien life looks like, for sure. All right, well, thank you for helping me out with this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Put out new videos every Wednesday/Thursday. Bye.